First, I have to apologize. I will not be blowing anything up, so it might not be quite as exciting. Um, Good morning, Mr. Lydon, Mr. Sanborn, Mr. Bradley, faculty and staff, parents, grandparents, friends, and members of the class of 2014. Thank you all so much for everything that you have done. It is a true honor to be standing up here today among such a wonderful group of people. You all are what make today so meaningful. Let me begin by telling you a story. Now, this story is only partially fabricated, so I will let each of you determine what is real and what is not. A little over 2 years ago, my parents suggested that I look into Derryfield because they had heard positive things and wanted to know what it was really all about. At that point, I really only knew two things about Derryfield. One, my friend and current classmate Austin went there. And two, as deceiving as the name is, it was not a field in Derry. I talked with Austin and he told me so many positive things about the school, so I decided to apply. A few weeks later, Derryfield was described to me as being a school for gifted children. And that comment inevitably reminded me of Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters from the X-Men comics. So the following week, when I received my acceptance, I was extremely excited. But I was also a little confused because if I have been accepted, then that must mean that I have superpowers that I just didn't know about. So I was extremely determined to figure out exactly what those superpowers were. So I went downstairs, locked myself in my room, and repeatedly did this. And after about an hour and a half of that, without a single spider web shooting through my wrist, I sadly concluded that Miss Ruddy Faye must have made a mistake and admitted me. However, my parents and I decided I would enroll anyways, and I hoped against hope that nobody would notice my lack of powers. On the first day of school, I met a handful of friendly and fascinating classmates, but I was a little disappointed to see that there was no one scaling the walls, flying through the hallways, or reading each other's minds. I was relieved, however, to realize that this may be a place that I would actually fit in, for everything seemed normal. Except, of course, for my first few days in calculus class, because at that point I was convinced that Mr. Holland's mind was more powerful than Professor Xavier's. Of course, as calculus became more comprehensible and I became more comfortable with the school, I understood that I truly would enjoy my 2 years here, and I was never proven wrong. A few days ago, I looked back at this silly little fantasy that I had created, and I laughed at its absurdity. At the same time, however, I began to wonder whether my reverie was really all that inaccurate. Of course, in a literal sense, we are far from being superheroes. But I thought about our abilities and our accomplishments collectively, and I began to realize that maybe we are just a little bit super. This small group of 67 is filled with extremely talented, multidimensional students. We have outstanding vocalists and performers, inspirational musicians, and wildly creative artists, along with state champions, individual record holders, all-state and even all-American athletes, many of whom plan to continue their play at the college level. All the while, we have had to balance ambitious workloads as our teachers have pushed us to reach our fullest potential. Now, despite the fact that we have much to be proud of, and while we have put in a tremendous amount of work to get to where we are, the truth is we couldn't have gotten here without being very fortunate. In fact, we are among the most fortunate young adults in the world. We are fortunate because of where we live, how we have been raised and educated, and the nearly unlimited access we've received to so many resources. We are fortunate because of the incredible support we've received from our teachers, family, and friends. But most important, we are fortunate because of the opportunities that lie ahead of us. So please, take a moment to personally say thanks to those that have helped you along the way. We should be thankful for all that we have received and all that our parents have sacrificed to provide us with this opportunity for a great education. We should be thankful to our teachers who have put in countless hours, both inside and outside the classroom, to expand our knowledge and enhance our ability to think critically and speak openly. I know that my teachers have made a profound effect on my life, and as I'm sure many of you agree, I believe they are the ones that make Derryfield so special. Now, while appreciating the opportunities that we have been blessed with is critical to our development, being thankful is only half the message. In order to be truly appreciative, I encourage you to go one step farther. Uncle Ben famously said to Spider-Man that with great power comes great responsibility. While this is a fantastic quote, I would like to amend it just slightly. You see, power is not something that you can obtain out of thin air. No, power at its roots requires good fortune. Once you have good fortune, you have much of the power necessary to make a positive influence on those around you. So instead, I suggest that with great fortune comes great responsibility. We have that great fortune. Now it is our responsibility to put it to good use. We are forging new paths as we move off to college in just a few short months. And as scary as it is, we have an opportunity to learn like never before. I urge you to learn more about the most daunting issues facing our country and our world, and find something that sparks a flare inside of you so strong that you desperately want to see it changed. Mr. Burke encouraged our U.S. history class to get arrested at least once in our lifetime for protesting against something we believe. Now, to Mr. Burke's disappointment and my parents' relief, I can see that taking this challenge literally is not an imperative, but applying its message is essential to the betterment of our society. So please take advantage of this opportunity, whether it's combating climate change, righting a social injustice, or simply supporting a homeless shelter. Discover a cause worth fighting for. One of the greatest setbacks to progress is the belief that certain issues are so innately massive that change can never be made. While that may seem true at times, we must overlook this trap and summon the courage to do our part, whether the difference can be clearly seen or not. Mahatma Gandhi said, it's the action, not the fruit of the action that's important. You have to do the right thing. It may not be in your power, may not be in your time, that there will be any fruit. But that doesn't mean you stop doing the right thing. You may never know what results come from your action, but if you do nothing, there will be no result. Growing up, there have always been other people with the ability to make changes, the people in charge. But now we are the ones who can and must be the difference makers. While professional success will likely be our outcome, leading lives of purpose and fulfillment, that, my peers, is our challenge. And I know we are ready to face it head on, for I have already seen the greatness of the class of 2014 is capable of. So remember, my friends, as we continue on this journey, to let your inner superhero out, and together we can save the world.